وسلم وبارك على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Today we will talk about two surahs inshallah. We're coming close to a point where we're going to have to do two every night. Tomorrow hopefully will still be just one, but then after that slowly I'll have to do two in a row because we don't have enough time until the end of the month. But these two are worthy of putting together a Al-Sharh and a team. Yesterday I talked about Surah Al-Duha and I explained the scenario that Surah Al-Duha produces or puts forward for us, which is how to deal with the difficulties in life. And all of these small surahs, Qisar al-Mufassal, from Al-Duha to An-Nas, are just small doses, fixes of Islamic values, Islamic concepts, Islamic scenarios, things to do, things to understand, things to hold on to. They're like little pills, wallahi. It's like you're taking, and you take them every morning, just keep the ideas clear, reinforce them in yourself, in your heart, so that they stay clear and that you're able, inshallah, to practice them properly. And every surah that we're going to go read until the end of the Quran is going to be very similar. It's a very concentrated dose of guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a very specific idea that is explaining, very specific goal and theme that is trying to get across. Juz' Amma, basically the final juz' that summarizes all of the values of the Quran, or all of the ideas that the Quran talked about in length and in depth in the other parts of it. Is divided into four groups. The first group, the first three surahs, and talks about the fundamentals of, or the principles of having a faith or embarking on a journey of belief, for believing in something. The second group of surahs talked about the sanctity and importance and accountability of choices, and just talked about choices, which I think is very interesting and important. And then the third group, from Al-Tariq to Al-Layl, talked about the Islamic tools, and it gave us tawakkul and tasbih and mujahada, and having a proper understanding of the events of life and consistency of ethics. And it talks about tazkiyah and it talks about taqwa, the 7 tools that I think every Muslim should have within their toolkit to face life and deal with life. And these final surahs in Surah Al-Duha, from Duha to An-Nas, are just small, extremely important concepts and ideas and values that we carry. And today we'll talk about two of them. We'll say Surah Al-Sharh and Surah At-Tin. Al-Sharh, he says subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. That's the first piece of it. Whenever a surah begins with alam, at the question, there's always a background story that you may not be aware of, that you sometimes have to either read about or imagine. The Prophet ﷺ must have been thinking of something, because no one starts a conversation with alam tara kayfa, alam nashrah. No, you don't come and meet me for the first, or beginning a conversation with me by saying, did you not, or have you not? Usually there's something else that's going on. If we're at that point in the conversation where you're asking me, alam taf'al, alam taq, then there must have been something. We're already halfway through. We've been talking about something before. Now these surahs just don't talk about that background, so it gives you the ability maybe to imagine it, or to understand it, or to comprehend it on your own. So what the Prophet, what the surah is saying is very simple. It's a very clear and simple message in Surah Al-Sharh. The Prophet ﷺ was worrying. He was worrying about the future. He was worrying whether what he was doing was the right thing, whether what he was doing was proper, whether he was putting enough effort, whether he was going to be able to actually carry the da'wah forward, whether it was going to be too heavy, whether he was going to be able to actually get the job done. He had all these worries of the future, alayhi salatu wasalam, because he was given, as Surah Al-Muzammil explained, qawlan thaqila. It's a very heavy message he was asked to carry, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to put him at ease by saying, alam nashrah, why are you worrying? Why would you worry about all this? Do you understand that the number of variables that exist for you to worry about are infinite? You can spend the rest of your life worrying about everything. Everything can go wrong. You have no idea how many different ways things can go wrong. It's an infinite number of ways that things can go wrong. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet ﷺ, why are you, alam nashrah laka sadrak, why are you worrying? Didn't I open your heart for Islam? Didn't I give you this message? And Sharh al-Sadr is a linguistic complex in Arabic that means put your heart at ease towards something. Allow you to accept it, allow you to love it, allow you to actually want to embrace it. Because sometimes yadiq al-sadr, you'll have the opposite complex in the Arabic language where you don't really want it, where you don't feel comfortable about it, where you're being kind of pushed into it or forced into it and you don't really want to do it. Like someone who comes to the masjid because they want to, and some some who are brought by their family and they don't want to. And it's very simple. Some mashruh al-sadr, they're there because they want to be there, and some dayiq al-sadr because they don't want to be there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet ﷺ, why are you worrying? Did I not open your heart for this? Even though it's very complex, it's very heavy, you are literally carrying the beacon of all of the messengers and all the prophets that ever came before you. You are the final one, you have to do it right. Meaning if anyone made a mistake before, it can be overlooked because someone else is going to bring the da'wah right after them. But you're the final person, you have to do this right. If you mess up, it's going to be a big problem. He's worrying about all this, alayhi salatu wasalam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, did I make it easier? You embraced it immediately? أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ. And we have removed from you the burden of your sin, the sin that weighs heavily upon you. أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَهُ. The Prophet ﷺ felt his sins were breaking his back. نَقْضُ الظَّهْر is basically breaking someone's back. Obviously not literally, but figuratively speaking. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, did I not forgive your sin? Did I tell you, did I not take away the sin and the mistake and remove that which you felt was a heavy burden upon your back? وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. Did we not also elevate your status and make you khatam al-anbiya? Why are you worrying? فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. The fa here attaches this verse to the verses before it, making this verse very personal to the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning this ayah, because of the fa that you find there, فَإِنَّ, it's attaching it to the words, to the verses before it. Did we not open your heart towards this? Did we not forgive your sins and elevate your burden? Did we not elevate your status and your dhikr? فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Then you need to know that with every ease, with every difficulty, there will be ease. With every difficulty, there will be ease. And then the ayah after it is the statement, is the everlasting, ongoing, public, general statement for everyone to understand and to take upon themselves and to accept. إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. So it's not a repetition for the sake of repetition. No. The first one is addressing the Prophet ﷺ specifically. With every difficulty, you're going to find ease. Stop worrying. That's the theme of Surah Al-Sharh. Don't waste your time on this very useless activity of worry. There's always a healthy amount of concern. There's a healthy amount of concern you need to have in life. If you're carefree all the time, you're not going to make it anywhere. You're going to fail. So there's a healthy amount of concern. But then there is an unhealthy amount of anxiety and worry that can come with the person's mentality and a person's way of thought. And this is useless. This is meaningless. It does nothing. It literally just makes your life span shorter. It just makes you more upset. It makes you more miserable. It doesn't do anything for you. That's why the second verse is public. It's for me and you. Inna ma'al usri. So this is a statement. This is a law. The law is that with every difficulty, there will be ease. Now, what is the biggest problem with understanding this verse? The biggest problem with understanding this verse is acting as if it's saying that after difficulty there will be ease, right? That's what we're told a lot of the time. ما بعد الشدة إلا الفرج, right? These are the stuff and that's true in many cases, and that's our assumption in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that's not a infinite, everlasting statement that you can say. You can't say that all the time. Because sometimes there's a shiddah and there's no faraj after it. It ends with death. Sometimes there's no solution. Sometimes the difficulty that you're in is the difficulty you're going to stick with you till the end. So how do you answer then? What do you tell someone who has terminal illness? And if you keep on telling him, no, after this will be ease, after this will be ease. What do you mean? Ease as in I'll die and it'll be better then okay, that's fine. But if you're alluding to the point, no, it'll get better. Things will go away, the difficulty will go away. Not always. In many cases in life, in many of the situations of life and scenarios, that is the case. After difficulty, ease will come. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this is the end. It's not going to get any better. This is what it is, and you're not going to see anything better than this. And you have to be okay with it. Then what is this verse saying? This verse never said that after, it's not inna ba'da al-usri yusra. It's not after difficulty there'll be ease. No. He never said that, subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's not the goal of this surah. To elude people that there'll always be something better next. If you mean by that Yawm al-Qiyamah and Jannah, and then yes, that's okay. And that's totally fine. That's a good way of putting it. I agree. But if you're alluding that somehow every difficulty in this life is going to be followed by an ease in this life for everyone, that's just untrue. I can just give you many examples that are, that are practical of people who didn't have ease after difficulty, and that difficulty continued with them until they passed away. Then how do you understand the verse? You understand it the way it actually is, what it's saying. It's saying with every difficulty, there is ease. Within the difficulty that you're given, within it will be enough ease for you to get through it. That is what this ayah is saying. The statement that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making for all of us is that yes, you're going to face difficulties. There are going to be misfortunes and hardships. There will be difficult times that are coming your way. Do not worry about them. If you waste your time worrying about them, you harm yourself, you harm your body, you harm your psyche and your mentality. You don't do well if you worry about things too much. Then what do? You just know this very clear statement that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made specifically to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. He told him, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, there's going to be ease with your difficulties. And then he made it a nice big statement for you and I. As a general law that is non-debatable. إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, with every difficulty, with it will be enough ease to get you through it. You just have to look for that ease, find it, embrace it, and then you'll get through whatever you're going through. You'll make it to the other side. That is what He's promising subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not promising after every difficulty you're going to find ease. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes this is the end. This is the difficulty that ends it all. But within that difficulty, within the midst of it, you'll find the ease that will give you the strength to actually get through that difficulty and make it to the other side. Not losing your faith, not losing your iman, not losing your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not losing your integrity, not losing your ethics, holding on to who you are as a person. Inna ma'al usri yusra. A beautiful, beautiful law that we're given telling us do not worry. Don't worry. Why are you worrying? The future can hold anything, literally anything. Children worry, by the way. Parents don't notice that or forget that. Parents forget that children actually worry a lot. Children will worry about little things they hear their parents talk about. If parents are disagreeing or fighting or saying something, the child hears it and they worry. They worry about their future, they worry about their home, they worry about sustenance and food and drink, they worry about the shelter that they have, they worry about their family, they worry about their stability. Worry, children worry. And a lot of the time you'll see a child behaving in a certain way and you'll wonder why. I'll tell you why. This child is worrying. This child is not happy. They're worried. They're worried about what's coming next. We start worrying at a very, very young age. We just forget about it when we get older. By the time you're 30, life has smacked you around so much you don't remember what it was like to be 10 anymore. You have no recollection of what it was like to be when you were 10 and 11. So don't blame your parents, by the way. If your dad doesn't seem to understand what you're going through, it's not his fault. He just can't remember anymore. Just life was too much was dished out to this person in life. He can't recall what it was like to be 12. It's hard to remember. I try. I work with youth a lot, so I try to stay. I can't anymore. Now my baseline is 16, 17. I have no recollection of how it was to be before that. You just start forgetting. So it's hard to relate a bit more. But maybe if we remind ourselves or reminded, children do worry. They worry quite a bit. These verses are helpful for them, just like they're helpful for you. You don't worry. Inna ma'al usri yusra. With difficulty, there will be enough ease. Trust that. There will be enough ease to get through that difficulty. You just have to look for it. You just have to be someone with the right mentality that this Quran has been explaining and building for you, so that when you get that difficulty, you find the ease within it. You find your space that you can exist within that difficulty to get through it, and you'll be fine. And you'll make it to the finish line. You'll get across the river, and you'll find dry land. So what has he told Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam right after that? After this very general law that everyone should embrace and take. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَبْ. So instead of worrying, every time you finish doing a good deed, start another one. فَانْصَبْ, start one right after. You finish doing something good, okay, faraght, you're done, okay, start something else. Start the next one. Don't waste your time worrying about what may come or what may happen or what you may get or what you don't, or how this will work out, and whether am I going to find a job? Am I going to graduate? Am I going to find a spouse? Am I going to make enough money? Is my business going to work out? Just do your thing. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. Finish one task, start the next. وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَبْ. And make sure that you continuously bring yourself close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's all you have to do. That's all you were ever asked to do. Just do it. Don't worry. Inna ma'al usri yusra. You're going to be dished out difficulties, whether you worry about them or not. You'll never be able to predict what type of difficulty is going to be dished out to you, by the way. No matter how much you worry, you can't actually you're not going to be able to do it. I dare you. Try to imagine what's coming next. You're always going to be wrong. You're going to find that you wasted all these hours worrying about something that never happened. Something completely different happened. And you still got through it. Because inna ma'al usri yusra, within that difficulty you found the ease. So don't waste your time worrying. Don't worry yourself to the point where you're ill and you're incapable of doing your job and you're unhappy and you're miserable. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not Islamic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the remedy. إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانصَبْ وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَب. When you finish one good deed, start the next and just draw yourself closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the teaching, or that is the message of Surah Al-Sharh. Beautiful message, very much worthy of us all learning and teaching our children. The second surah, Surah Al-Tin, he says subhanahu wa ta'ala, he makes three oaths. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ. I'll treat that as one. وَطُورِ سِينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. Three oaths. He's taking oaths subhanahu wa ta'ala by three places on earth. Tin was zaytun. Tin is figs and zaytun is zaytun. Olives. Everyone knows zaytun. So tin and zaytun are actually the fruit or the food that is almost a hallmark of the Holy Land, of the land where Isa alayhi salam lived. So what tini was zaytun, that's where Isa alayhi salam was sent. What turi sinin, tur is the mountain, sinin is Sinai. You know Sinai, the Mount Sinai? You must have heard their hospitals called by that. The Jewish faith called their hospitals Mount Sinai because that's where Musa alayhi salam received his revelation alayhi salatu wasalam. وَطُورِ سِينِينَ. It's not sinin as in years. No, it's sinin. Just make sure you recite that word properly. It's وَطُورِ سِينِينَ, not sinin. It's a name of a place. It's the place where Musa alayhi salam was given his revelation. وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. And he's taking an oath subhanahu wa ta'ala by this honorable country. And he's of course talking to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, who was living in Mecca at the time. And he's talking about Mecca, where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself received his revelation. So he's taking an oath by the three places where the last three prophets known to humanity, the known faiths. Some people don't like the word Abrahamic faith, so I'm not going to use it just so I don't cause controversy, even though all of the faiths, whether one way or the other, they attribute themselves to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Obviously, we don't believe that the way they believe or what they believe is correct, or else we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. We know inna ad-deena 'inda Allahi al-Islam, but these faiths, one way or the other, attribute themselves mistakenly or correctly to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And they're the most known faiths. What are the most famous? And if you actually put them all together, they take up more than half of humanity. So subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath by the place where the revelation to Isa and to Musa and to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi ajma'een was made, the revelation that they got. In an effort to take our attention to the fact that all of these faiths carried the same basic message. And all the faiths before them. But the ones before them we don't have. You don't have the Suhuf of Ibrahim anymore. You don't have the teachings of Hud or Salih or Shu'aib. You just don't have. These are the ones that you have left. All the teachings were the same. He brought subhanahu wa ta'ala, he sent these prophets with the same basic ideas. His answer to this oath, I swear to you by Tin wa Zaytun, the area where Isa alayhi salam lived in Palestine. I swear to you by Mount Sinai, where Musa alayhi salam received his revelation. I swear to you by Mecca, where the Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam received his revelation. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Indeed, we have created the human being in the best method for the human being to serve his purpose. That's what taqweem means. Taqweem has nothing to do with the way you look. Has nothing to do with the way you're physically created. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam was very aware back then that people were born with deformities. This was known. It wasn't like they had never seen someone born with a deficit or a disease. Ahsan taqweem, if it means physical, well then that's a problem, because what about those who are born with diseases and lost limbs? And are they not of God's creation? Are they not cared about? No. He's not talking about the way we look. That was never a part. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a lot of interest in suwarina wa ajsadina, in the way that we look in our bodies. His interest is a'malina wa qulubina. He's looking at the deeds and the hearts. He doesn't care about the rest of the stuff. So he's not talking about taqweem as in the way you look. Taqweem comes from the root of qiyam or qam, which is all through the Quran, which is a word that is used time and time again in the Quran to describe someone who's fulfilling their purpose. It means that you're going to fulfill the purpose that you were created to fulfill. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I created you in the best way in order for you to fulfill your purpose. What's your purpose? That is the question. That is the $1 million question. Do you have clarity on why you're here? Do you have clarity on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you, what He expects from you? why you're alive and where you're going with all of this. If that's clear and your purpose is clear to you, then this ayah is fine. This is an ayah you can easily embrace and take upon yourself. But if you don't, if there's no clarity on that issue, I'm not really sure why I'm alive, I'm not really sure what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from me, then this ayah becomes problematic. Because we're not sure what he's talking about. So we'll just call it, he created us in a beautiful image, which is easier because I don't have to actually then ask the question, what exactly does he want? If he created me in the best form to serve a purpose, the question has to be, well, what is that purpose? What does he want? If he created me in the best form. He did. He gave you enough intellect, he gave you enough cognitive abilities, he gave you enough social abilities, he gave you enough time to actually serve a purpose that he subhanahu wa ta'ala explained throughout the Quran in almost every surah. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. You were created in the best form in order for you to serve your higher purpose. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. That same human being is going to be sent down to the lowest of the low. That human being will have a nose dip downwards. He was created to serve a high purpose, but the human being will have a nose dip. Will just go right down. أَسْفَلْ سَافِلِينَ. The lowest of the low. There's nothing under. There's nothing lower than what this human being will be. Not everyone though, because immediately subhanahu wa ta'ala explains there's an exception. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونَ. Except those who believe and perform the deeds that they were created to perform. Salihat is a word that is very much, it's misused a lot and it's misunderstood. Salih Amil al-Salihat doesn't just mean for you to perform your prayers or to fast Ramadan, even though those are definitely Salihat. But the word is much deeper than that. If you were to buy, let's say you bought something from the Middle East, if it's not working, what do they write on it? It stamps something. If something's not working and it's broken, they'll stamp something on it in Arabic. You know what it is? غير صالح, right? It's غير صالح. What? This is not a pious lamp? The lamp wasn't performing its salah properly? Why is this not salih? Well, if you understand it as simply as that, it's just rituals, then yes, you're going to find it hilarious. But the Arabs know, if you understand the language, no, that's a very appropriate word. Because salah is dependent on the purpose. This lamp is salih, not if it prays. When you put it into a socket, it'll actually give light. A car is salih. If when you sit in it and turn it on, it takes you somewhere. If it's not, if it's just there to look at, it's not salih anymore. Has nothing to do with piety. Has nothing to do with relationship with God. Has nothing to do with being a good person. It just has to do with the fact that you are serving the purpose. That serving the purpose it was created to serve initially. So when he says وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is referring to the fact that you're doing the deeds that he created you to do. He put you here to perform certain deeds, to do certain things, to live a certain way, to be a certain person. So every human being was created perfectly to serve that purpose. And then all human beings will have a nose dip down to the lowest of the low because they'll follow their instincts and they won't serve their purpose except those who find God himself, have belief in him, and then perform the deeds they were created to perform. All of them. So yes, rituals is a nice big part of that. A big chunk of that is your salah and siyam and dhikr and Quran and hajj. Good. A chunk of that as well is your birr al-walidain and salat al-rahim. A chunk of that is also your mujahada fi sabilillah, the struggle that you put for the sake of Allah in performing da'wah. A part of that is your husn al-khuluq and taqwa. A part of that is starting a family and taking care of those around you. A part of that is looking out for those who can't look out for themselves. All of that, all of these things are a part of amilu salihat. If we take this word and we restrict it, which we have, and restrict it just to a few rituals. So as long as this person prays in the first line and then khalas, he's good. That's a part of it, ya akhi. You're far from serving your purpose still. You're far from it. There's way more to be done. There's more. You were created for much more than that. He told Adam, "Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa." I told him, I put you here as a successor. You are here responsible for the well-being of the earth in my name. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, "O Adam and all of his children, in my name, you're responsible for the well-being of this earth and everyone living on it. That's your job. That's your purpose." And he created you. What he's saying, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. You are created perfectly to serve that purpose. We may be short, we may be fat, we may be ill, we may look funny, we may speak funny, we may have all these deficits and diseases, but with all of that, you are still created as a collective human race perfectly to serve that purpose. the purpose of stewardship, of taking care of everything, of making sure that you show everything empathy, and that you are you're treating everyone with righteousness and with adl, with justice. You're created for that. You have all the tools. You lack nothing to serve that purpose. But most people, most people will just go right down. Just follow those whims and those desires and those instincts and just what they want to eat and drink and what they want to look at and listen to, and whatever they want, whatever is selfish for themselves, just go after that. And that is worse. You say, well, why asfal safilin? Aren't animals lower? No, they're not. No, they're not. أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. No, some people are worse than an'am. Why? Because animals didn't have a choice. The animal that you see following its instincts has no choice. That's how it's created. That's its purpose, by the way. Its purpose is just to follow its instincts and stay a part of this beautiful ecosystem and keep life moving around properly and rotating and everything continuing. But you and I, when we dip to that level, when we do exactly what every other mammal is doing on the planet, we're going to be held accountable because we didn't have to. And that wasn't the purpose of our creation. You weren't made for that. Why are you doing this? Why are you wasting time in these low life instincts when I created you for a higher purpose? Ya khir farasak. Just look up. Look up. There's way more to you than whatever it is that you're running after. There's way more to you than pleasure and leisure and wealth and money and food and travel, and there's more to you than this. Way more. You just have to understand, or else if you don't notice it, you can get lost in asfal safilin easy. You can easily get lost in that lowest of the low, easy. But he's telling you, I created you fi ahsan taqweem. You are given all of the tools. You're in the best form to serve this purpose. But you will dive down unless you believe, unless you know Allah. If you don't know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything I'm telling you is useless to you. And it means nothing if you don't know God. And then you perform the deeds you were created to perform. Amilu salihat. What do they get? Lahum ajrun ghayru mamnoon. They get a reward that is never interrupted. It never stops. It starts in dunya and it continues with you until Yawm al-Qiyamah. It doesn't start Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's not interrupted. You perform the deeds that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you to perform. You serve that higher purpose. And your reward is uninterrupted. Ghayru mamnoon means not interrupted. Never stops. The moment you start serving that purpose, your reward begins. And it continues into Jannah. That never stops. Never stops. The fulfillment that you find from serving that purpose and performing those deeds and obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way of life He wants you to live will never be interrupted. You'll always be fulfilled. You'll always be happy. You'll always know that I'm doing what I'm created to do. I'm serving my goal. This is why He made me and I'm doing it. And that will keep you happy in dunya, and then you're going to find that happiness continuing with you Yawm al-Qiyamah. The surah finishes and it says, فَمَا يُكَذِّبُكَ بَعْدُ بِالدِّينِ. So why is it you don't believe in religion? Not in this religion, in religion. Didn't He just make an oath by the revelation of Isa, Musa, and Muhammad? How could you disbelieve in religion? If religion is coming to you to tell you this is what's in your best interest, you were created for a higher purpose. Serve it and be happy now and be happy later. How could you disbelieve in this? What are you disbelieving in? What about this doesn't make sense to you? What about this is not proper? أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ. Is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the wisest of the rule givers? Al-Hakimin is not the wise. Ahkam is the wisest or the most wise. Al-Hakim is the one who gives the law, the one who decrees a rule. That's Al-Hakim. So he's saying, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not the wisest of those who give rulings? People are giving rulings all the time. They're making laws all the time. Lawmakers exist everywhere. They try to make laws to make human beings happy. They try their best, they fail. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made laws. Is He not the wisest of all those who make laws? He did. Well, why don't you follow His law then? Follow His law. He created you perfectly to serve this law. You are literally programmed to be able to do this 100%. It's like the piece of the puzzle perfectly fits. Why are you trying to fit yourself into some other thing that doesn't fit? We're forcing ourselves into this mold that is not made for us. This is not what we were created for. But He did make a mold for you that fits you and I perfectly. This purpose, this higher purpose, fits us perfectly. Just serve it. And if we don't serve it, then it's a nose dip down. Surah Al-Teen just reminds you, you were created for a higher purpose. And that higher purpose will bring you fulfillment. That's the statement of Surah Al-Teen. You're created for a higher purpose and you will find fulfillment. Just serve it, just live it. Surah Al-Sharh before it just says, don't worry, inna ma'al usri yusra. Within each difficulty, you will find ease. And those are the two messages from these surahs today. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Before I finish, inshallah, tahajjud starts tomorrow. So I'll talk, inshallah, tomorrow after Isha or before Isha a little bit. I'll explain, inshallah, what the program looks like. But tahajjud will begin, inshallah, tomorrow. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.